Hello everyone, KosakChess here and welcome everyone to the fourth round of Menorca Chess Open. In the round number four, I faced the Chinese guy, so another Asian player. In the first round, I played against the Indian guy, now the Chinese player. They are all from Asia and they are not an easy opponent because they calculate well, they calculate quickly, and they are really unpleasant because they can even find some tricks. And that's why I was wondering what to play, how to start this game, because after e4, after the move e4, I could expect c5 and some dragon stuff. Of course, the dragon isn't that dangerous at all, but I wasn't really sure if I want to go for dynamic positions against these Asian players. So I asked my roommate Sparuman what to play, and he told me, "Oh, let's play Torre. Torre is good." So I play knight f3, and after g6, I could play e4, but I knew that after e4, c5 is coming, and we go to the Sicilian. So I played d4, knight f6, and bishop g5. A Torre system which may look really similar to the London system, but with the bishop on g5 and also with a pretty good control of the dark squares, I can develop my pieces easily. Bishop g7, knight bd2, d5, e3, castle bishop d3. Yeah, so that's why. So that's how my whole preparation looked like. I just asked my friend what to play 20 minutes before the game, and he just told me, "Ah, play this system. It's really easy to play." Uh, c5, c3, so of course we build a pyramid in the center, knight bd7, castle b6, and queen e2. Uh, I remember when I was checking some variations, the b4 move is the main one to make some pressure and to size the space on the queen side, and this was probably the way how should I play this position. But I played queen e2 and bishop b7, so he develops pieces pretty in a pretty normal way. I just decided to do literally the same. Rook ad1, the most obvious and the most normal move. I played I played with this rook because potentially if some exchanges happen, I have the e file open, so I can put the another rook on this e file. So that's why I put on the one the a rook. He plays knight e4, bishop f4. Of course, we don't want to exchange our bishop, and he plays h6. I asked myself the question in this position: what does he want to do? I realized that he maybe wants to play g5 and f5. And after g5, for example, if I play a3, he plays g5, bishop g3, and f5. I might even have some troubles with this bishop on g3. So that's why I played h3. And now after g5, bishop h to f5, I wasn't really sure how to assess this position, but in my opinion, I can play knight e5. This is the typical idea to control this e5 square. Now the knight e4 is different, and also f3 might happen. And so after, let's say, knight d2, rook d2, e6, I can play f4, and then you maybe prepare g4. I have some initiative on the king side, so I believe it should be okay. So I wasn't really afraid if he pushes that much, because then I can exploit it by pushing this pawn further on the king side. So that's why after h3 he played a somewhat a waiting move. He played queen c8. I didn't really understand it. Probably he wants to make a space for a d8 rook. Uh, so okay, I also made an awaiting move. I played bishop h2. This bishop is pretty good standing there because it can be attacked by e5 or by g5. And it also shoots via this whole diagonal. So uh, I think this is pretty normal. He plays this move a6. So he probably wants to size the space on the queen side because he also doesn't have that easy plan. If he plays f5, he always weakens this e5 square, and probably I can play knight e5 anyway, and play the same variation I have shown you. Yeah, just a few seconds ago. So maybe maybe he can't go. Maybe he can go for this, but he decided to play a6 and try to push on queen side. But this move has one great drawback. This main drawback is that he gives up the opportunity to play bishop a6, because, for example, if Uh, let's pretend we are making some random move like rook e8. Ah, sorry, I see that the internet connection isn't that good as I expected. Yeah, this is something strange. We are in a really good hotel, four-star hotel, beautiful sights, amazing food, but of course the Wi-Fi connection is bad. I don't know why it happens. It happens every single time on chess tournaments. It doesn't really matter if you are, sleeping in tent or if you're sleeping in 5, 6 star hotel. Doesn't matter. The Wi-Fi connection is always bad. So in order to change it, I will change the Wi-Fi for my hotspot, and I hope that it will work. But after rook 8, I just want to show you that if I play something like bishop b1, uh, yeah, something like bishop a6 might happen, and this attack on the queen and the rook might be unpleasant. So I was happy with this move a6, and I immediately played bishop b1 because I want to get rid of this knight by taking with the knight. Of course, I can't do it right now because d4 is the fork, right? So bishop b1 for me made a perfect sense. He played bishop c6. Yeah, and now I wasn't really sure because after knight d4, what was my first initial thought? He has bishop b5. And if I escape with the queen, bishop f1, of course, rook f1, d4, I am exchanged down. I was also calculating after bishop f1 something like, knight g3 or something just to escape, but he escapes also, and it doesn't cause me any problem. Also, c4 was really interesting, and after bishop c4, queen c2, the idea is that I open the c3 square so I can put there my knight. But even though this bishop escapes through knight d5 and he protects somehow this pawn by playing maybe even queen d8. No, maybe queen d8 no, because dc5 is looks good. Uh, Maybe he can play cd4 first, yes, to pin my knight, and after knight d4, bishop b5, and now I can't move this knight if I don't want to exchange queens. But anyway, like going for such complicated variations isn't necessary for me. So I decided just to not hurry with anything. I know that my position is solid, but is passive but solid. But I don't have any particular weakness, so I don't have to really hurry with anything. I don't know who is the side who needs to prove something, but White don't have to. White doesn't have any reason to complain in that position. Although my pieces are a little bit passive, but no weaknesses at all. So that's why I played Rook fe1. I believe this is a pretty mature move because you know I am not hurrying. I'm just asking him questions and maybe not posing him problems, but he needs to do something. And sometimes, believe me, in chess, it is not that easy to do something. He plays b5, so of now he took himself the possibility to play bishop b5. So now I took the e4, d4, knight d2, queen b7. Uh, if he plays the move f5, I wanted to play f3 to open the position, ef3, knight f3, and e4. If I manage to play e4, open the rook, attack this weak pawn on e7, I would be perfectly fine. But after he didn't play f5, he played queen b7 and knight b3, attacking this pawn on c5 and also threatening knight a5, taking the bishop on c6. With the bishop pair, it should be fine. But I underestimated his next move because he played the move a5. This is the move I saw, but I didn't believe it was. I didn't believe in this power, in power of this move. I took the pawn on c5 because I don't have anything better to do. If I take with the pawn, he plays a4, knight d4, knight c5, knight c, queen c6, and this bishop is stuck on b1. This knight is amazingly staying there. So exchanging this knight, I believe this is a good decision. Knight c5, dc5, and b4. He attacks this pawn. My initial thought in this position was to even play rook d4. If bishop d4, ed4, I think that I might even fight for something because he can never fully control the b file because of the fact that this bishop on h2 controls the b8 square, and in the future, maybe in the next few moves, I will take this e4 pawn, and maybe I have the compensation for sacrificed exchange. Uh, but again, this is not the position I have to hurry with something or to play some unnecessary but active looking moves. So as simple as that. I just decided to defend this pawn, which was attacked, and I played this move, queen c4. If I played c4, maybe queen a7 and queen c5. So, I am losing a pawn, and his position opened, which is of course on this factor is on his favor. I played queen c4. He took the pawn on c3, bc3, and rook fd8. Uh, well, okay, I am pawn up, but I have these pawns doubled, so they are not that strong. But okay, I improve my position. I play bishop c2, and I also pose a little trap because I want to play rook b1, attacking the queen. And if the queen goes somewhere, I take the pawn on e4. So he plays rook c8, developing the last piece. And now after rook b1, there's queen a8, and he defends everything. And also bishop d5 is in the future, bishop c3 next. My queen on c4 defends these pawns, but it does nothing. It does really nothing there. So after the rook a8, I just exchanged the rook d8, and bishop g3, and I calculated a pretty interesting variation, I believe, because it occurred in a game. This was I saw all of this. Bishop g3, I believe this is again a mature move. This is probably the move I am the most proud uh, looking on the whole game, because this little move not only protects the f2 pawn, which might be useful in some variations, but what's even more important, it gives me the h2 square for the king. So whenever my rook from e1 disappears, I am not getting checkmated on the first file. For example, if I want to play rook b1, queen b1. I am not losing yet because bishop b1, rook d1, queen f1, but who wants to go for this endgame? Probably I can even lose this pawn, or maybe if I don't, still this endgame, I don't really like it. So bishop g3, I'm really proud of this move, although it's not a genius move. I believe it's pretty normal, but I am curious, and I am looking for opponent's threats. So this move I am really proud of. Just to emphasize, bishop d5, queen a4. This what I was calculating. Bishop takes c3, rook d1, and rook c8. So he gets out of the pin because bishop e4 is the threat. I didn't mention one thing, because after bishop c2, oh yeah, I didn't mention one thing, sorry, because after bishop c2, I just remind myself why he can't play bishop d5 immediately. Because after queen a4, bishop c3, now the rook is attacked, and it has to go to f1 or even e2. These both courses are pretty awkward for white rook. But after bishop d5, I have prepared rook takes d5. This was the idea. Rook d5, bishop e4, and I am pinning all the pieces along this diagonal. And after queen d5, rook d5, bishop e4, I am also pinning these two rooks. So I am getting material back, and I calculated that this endgame should be favorable for me. I am healthy pawn up, and with this free pawn, I can go and go and go and make my dreams come true. So after rook d1, he played rook c8, and I calculated a line bishop b3. And I am posing him a great problems now, or maybe not great, but maybe he couldn't really, expect that he may face such problems like he faced in a game. Because he gets out of the pin, he attacked my pawn, but I play bishop b3, and it's not so easy for him to make a move. Of course, the first question which comes to mind is, what if he takes on b3? Well, after bishop b3, I want to take with the pawn. If he now takes the pawn on c5, I give a check, rook d8, king g7, and queen e8. And the 8 file is pretty, pretty weak, and I am threatening a checkmate ideas. So, now I am winning. Now I am winning for sure. So he can take the pawn on c5 in this scenario. I was also calculating something like queen b4. My intention was to play queen d7, attack the c8 rook and the e7 pawn. If the rook takes on c5, the same story happens. These mate ideas are, I believe, they are inevitable. But of course, he doesn't have to take the pawn with the rook. He can play queen c5. But after queen c5, I believe I prepared really annoying rook c1, pinning all the pieces on the c file. And the thing is that he probably struggles with making a move. If he wants to exchange queens, queen c6, rook c6, bishop e5. That's how can I use the pin along the c file. For example, if he makes a random move like h5, I have again bishop e5, right? Bishop e5, rook c5, and if queen e5, queen c8, and queen c3 in the end of the variation. So it only shows that how unpleasant might be this rook c1, and I don't see a way to deal with this position for black. So it might be unpleasant. So bishop b3, b3. If he doesn't do nothing, I have this free pawn. Maybe I can push it forward, maybe I can't. But anyway, the free pawn is the free pawn. As you could see in my third game against Daniel Darda, this very same pawn on the c file made a great difference because it decided the result. It might be also the case in this game. I have no idea if it would work or not, but at least this is the kind of a power I can use in my game. So bishop b3 b3, I was pretty convinced that this position is okay for me. He could also play e6 there, but after after e6, I wanted to play rook c1, putting the rook just under this pawn, and yeah, again, maybe if this pawn is defended, maybe it can go even further. And well, I believe in this position that with this pawn, maybe there's not much, but as I told you in the previous game, this pawn made a difference. So maybe it could be the case in this game. But he took on c5 immediately. The reason of that, maybe he was probably thinking that after queen e8, king g7, and now I don't have rook. Oh, sorry. What have I done? Why I just went out? Oh, we came back. Sorry. Queen e8, king g7. Now I don't have rook d8, right? And this was probably the thing he was calculating. Rook d5, bishop d5, queen d5, queen e7, queen a2, bishop e5, bishop e5, queen e5, and we end in a draw because of some perpetual, or maybe you can even fight there for a win. Maybe this endgame is just winning. Queen b3 and he pushes the pawn, and he defends the f7 square. So that's this is the thing he was counting for. But he missed one thing. He missed the thing that I can take the bishop with the rook, and after rook d5, I'm not obliged to take the rook on d5 with the bishop. But I can play queen c4, making double attack on the c3 on the d5, and additionally there is a pressure on the f7 square. And now it's over because he can do nothing. He can't give me a check because the bishop covers the square. He can defend the rook, but I take the bishop. And with the bishop pair, with the king exposed, with this weak dark squares, it should be winning easily. And I could after this queen c4, I could see his facial expressions, and he was like, "Oh my god, I blundered it. I totally missed queen c4." And after the game, he told me that he missed this queen c4 idea. So bishop b3 has also this one additional benefit that it sets a trap that after rook c5, what happened in the game? There's rook d5, and queen c4, and now apparently the white is winning. So this is the So this is the power of the bishop and the queen, of the DB. The tactical motive. You should know from my series. Rook f5, queen takes c3. Now the position should be relatively easy to convert. Queen b4, queen c6, some trap. Yeah, but he found it e6, king h2, just to be safe, just to be sure that nothing happens with my king. king g7, queen d7, again some trap. He defended it. He was trying to exchange queens, probably maybe even exchanging the queens is enough for me to win. But with queens on the board, I think I have better chances to create something. So I just gave a check and took it the pawn. For me, it was easier, and also I stopped a4 because the a4 the a4 square is protected. He plays h5, queen d4, queen b4 again. He offers me a queen trade, but I discard it again by playing queen d8. Also, h4 is protected because I defend the square twice. He plays queen c3. Because also after a4, I was intending to play bishop c2, and rook goes somewhere. Rook c5, bishop d6 maybe is winning already. But the idea is after that rook d5, I have queen d6 and queen f7 and bishop e5 is the threat. So after queen d8, he played queen c3 in order to avoid bishop c2. But now I have e4 because he doesn't control the e4 square. He goes rook c5 and queen e7, really annoying move. After rook b5, I would go queen d7, making a double attack. After rook c5, I played queen e7, having an eye on this and this. King g8, bishop d6, queen f8, and taking the rook is the threat. So he went back to c8, but now the all of my pieces are ready to create a crucial attack. Bishop takes e6. We are opening the position of the king. Uh, uh, we are taking the best defenders of the king, which are the pawns. F takes e6, queen e6, king h7, and bishop e5. And the game is over because queen e7 and queen f7 or queen d7 is the threat. He played he played also, the last move, queen c6, the last few moves, queen e7 check, king h6, bishop g7, king h7, and bishop f6. And because of the fact that queen g7 pre-move, he resigned. Uh, I am pretty happy with the quality of my game. We will check like in a right now. We will check if the everything was fine, but I was pretty happy with the decisions I have with the decisions I have admitted during the game. Let's see if the engine also recommends our decisions. Knight f3, g6, d4, knight f6. Yeah, this Torres system. Of course, it doesn't lead to any advantage. The position is fairly equal, but nowadays in chess you can't really fight for an advantage. You just have to play something that might be unpleasant for your opponent. And the opening choice, because of the fact that I played against these Asian guys, I have to play some calm chess, at least calmer than usual. I play because they are mostly counting on their tactics, on their calculation. So if I make the position as calm as it is possible, they are lacking his best strength. Rook a d1, knight d4, bishop f4. He plays h6. Okay, I played h3, reasonable. Queen c8, bishop h2. I want to check if after g5 I was calculating well. f5, knight e5, knight e5, bishop e5. Okay, he recommends to take it with the pawn. And d5, knight d2, rook d2, e6, and f4. So he wants to go for this, like with bishop on h2 closed. Okay. Uh, yeah, maybe this bishop it isn't that bad because if the position opens on the king side anyway, I will maybe have great potential with it because if I push, for example, f5, the e5 pawn would be protected. Okay, so it's really good thing to know. Queen c8, bishop h2, a6, bishop b1. Okay, bishop c6. Okay, rook f e1. Wow, this is almost the wow. Okay, so yeah, rook f1 is the first line, or at least equally with knight takes e4. I am really happy that I played this move because I was thinking for there for a long time. I wasn't really sure what to do, but rook f1 shows the, let's say, the maturity of the that I don't want to hurry or anything. But what did he play after knight e4, bishop b5? Aha, okay, so he just wants to queen e1, queen f1, d4, bishop e4, and he wants to just sacrifice the exchange. Yes, I have this bishop pair, so I definitely have a compensation, but I am not sad with my decision. because during the game with the stockfish turned on, you're happy that you see the compensation, you see the bishop pair, you see that you cite a lot of space, etc., etc. But during the game, when you don't see engine, when you don't see stockfish, it is not that easy to evaluate it. You just see that your material down. At least this is what I see. So yeah, it wasn't. For me, it wasn't that necessary. I played rook f1, b5, knight takes e4. Well, knight b3 immediately. Okay, but knight d4, it doesn't spoil an advantage. Queen b7, knight b3. I could have played f3 anyway. f3, ef3, knight f3, and also hope for e4. But he plays bishop e4. During the game, I was even thinking on knight f6. But okay, e4. I can play e4. Okay, it doesn't matter. I play knight b3, a5, knight c5, knight c5, dc5, and he plays b4. Well, okay, he could play queen a7 and grab this pawn, and I can't play b4 because of bishop c3. And the engine says rook d4. So yeah, I saw some ideas because I have mentioned this rook d4 idea at one point. Um, but he didn't play. He played b4. Wow, rook d4 is even okay. But again, I am giving up material. I rather prefer to take the material rather than giving it up. Queen c4, bc3, bc3, rook f d8. Rook f d8 is already maybe not that big mistake, but he could have played rook a c8, and after bishop c2, yeah, bishop. Aha, he could go for something like this: queen e4, bishop e4. Oh, my rook is trapped. Okay. So rook f d8, really normal looking move. Probably he was hoping for that bishop d5, but I set a trap there by playing this bishop c2, also preparing the rook b1. He played rook a c8, rook d8, rook d8, and bishop g3. Yeah, okay. The engine doesn't like it that much, but uh, well, I am happy with that move anyway. Again, it doesn't spoil any advantage. 0.1 or 0.0, it is no difference. It's still equal position. Queen a4, bishop c3, rook d1, rook c8. Yes, and bishop b3, really annoying move. Wow, and he has the only move in this position, and this is apparently bishop b3, a b3, and queen b4. This is the thing I was calculating, and queen d7, queen c5, and rook c1, rook f8. Aha. Okay, so it makes perfect sense just to unpin the rook and put it on the safe and defended square. And if I can't attack the bishop on c3, black can actually hold it, and they are pawn up. So, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. I was happy that after rook c1, I posed many problems for black, but unnatural looking move, but rook f8, pretty logical right now. Uh, okay, so I didn't know that this is the critical position for black. Rook takes c5, of course, is losing. Rook d5, and queen c4 the only variation. But yes, I am happy to see it. Then the rest of the game should be relatively good. Yeah, queen e4. Okay, queen d4, queen d8, e4, queen e7, bishop d6. Yes, and bishop e6, the first line. So the continuation of the attack was on pretty good level. Okay, yeah, so you know, it was pretty good game. You could see that along the majority of the game, the position was around zero point 0.0. The position was around equal. But I was posing a problem for my opponent. I wasn't hurrying with anything special. I wasn't, destroying or pushing my position like weaker opponents usually do. I was just keeping the position solid, posing him little questions, posing him some little problems, but he needed to find an answer on every problem and on every question. And as we could see, he didn't really manage to do that. So, although I didn't get any advantage after the opening, in the middle game, also the position was equal. Even we could see even a slight minus for black. Uh, well, he didn't solve all the problems I posed, and I am happy. I am happy of the style of this game because if you put some problems, if you manage to make your opponent suffer, it is you have to be happy of the quality of your play then. Mm, yes, and I believe I managed to do it. So after 4 rounds, 3 out of 4, so not a bad result. In the round number five, in the round number five probably would be very interesting because I am going to play again against the Asian player, but now not from China but from India again, like I did in the first round. Of course, you will see the recap of the next round on my channel. But for now, thank you very much for joining me and see you in the next video. Keep the still keep how to say, wish me good luck. Wish me good luck and see you. Bye bye.